We live.
Hey, yo! fellas, man. How y'all doing? We halfway through the week. We at hump day. What's going on, man? What's going on with folks? How y'all doing?
I'm good, man. Just, living life, working on content,
Gibbs,
get another step closer.
I can't complain. Gibbs, I got a job. I'm breathing. I'm not out here, 40 shorty, So, I'm doing pretty good.
Wait, what you mean you not out here 40 shorty? What you mean?
You know what I mean when I say I'm not out here 40 shorty.
I don't. You gotta elaborate on that. You gotta elaborate. Are you saying
$40 gets you back in the day?
Are you saying that you don't gotta give the 40? You ain't gotta receive the 40? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? This is a family show, but I done been on both sides of the linden tree. You know what I mean? Did what I had to do to get where I had to go, to get some food, get a ride. You know what I mean? The debonair gentleman y'all see today wasn't always me. You know what I mean? It was a point in time where it was for some detergent, but that, we ain't even gonna go there right now. The clothes got washed, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Hey.
Now, fellas, Chris, I know that you're up in Boston in that area, and I know that you're leaving soon. Congratulations, by the way, because I've not heard of anybody.
I saw it through, my boy. My boy.
I have never heard anybody in my life say, "Hey, man, you know where I'm trying to be at? Boston. That's where I'm trying."
That wasn't how it was. It was the right opportunity.
No, I'm not saying you were that way. Right. I'm saying you did what you had to do. Like,
it's a means to an end.
Exactly, it's a means to an end. But we got some very interesting news out of Boston. Apparently, there is someone who has ordered a Jason Tatum calendar. Okay? Now, granted, this is not as bad as some of you all are thinking, because I know what y'all think when you hear a full calendar of one human being. It's not that type of calendar. It is 12 separate action shots of him playing basketball. Now, instead of doing the traditional would you rather, we are asking whether or not it's okay for a person to have a grown man to have a calendar of their favorite player. Go ahead. Here's the thing. I didn't say this in pre-production, but I actually have come up with one scenario where it's okay.
Okay.
If you are buying it as a collector's item and they're one of the greatest players of all time, and you hear oh no, Michael Jordan has pneumonia or something like that, and you wait a minute, he 91 with pneumonia? Hey, bro, what can we get from him?
I still don't think that's the case because
I think that's okay.
No,
I think that's all right.
I don't.
Still not?
Because
no, wait a minute. You said it was okay.
Look.
How we don't
I said it was okay if a shorty had a full Jason Tatum calendar. If a kid, even if it was a 10-year-old kid that had a full Jason Tatum calendar, y'all disagree. But I said kids is off limits. A kid can have a full Jason Tatum.
Limits. Yeah, kids can do what they want. It's like you're a kid. You don't know no better.
But if you're a grown man, I don't care what's happening. It's so many collector's items that you are going to place above a calendar. You've never heard somebody hitting it rich or flipping a calendar.
But that's the genius of it. You got to realize we're not talking bro, if you got a calendar with Spencer Halls on it, yeah, you're crazy. That'll never get you a return on your investment. Congratulations. You just blew 30 or however many dollars on Amazon. But if you're talking LeBron James is 85 and he's really up there and oh no, he was in a car crash or something and they don't know if he's going to pull through. And all the other collectible items are sold up. You just said, nobody's thinking about a calendar. So you get a calendar and boom, that's one of the last things
never going to be able to flip it.
If
you bought it for 20, you're going to flip it for 35.
And you know what? You $15 richer than you were. That's 3 high readies. That's 3 high readies right there.
No, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. God rest his soul. Even if you bought a Kobe Bryant 12-month calendar, I still would be all right, bro. Think about it. Right, right. Grown men typically buy the Playboy calendar, right? And put that every month they change. Ooh, this is Miss September. Oh, this Miss October. You buy a calendar as a grown man, and it's a man the same man on every month. That's a little different. glazing to the foot. Like, what type of fandom is that?
Hey,
You know?
man. Hey, man. Can I let you in on something right now? A Kobe Bryant wall calendar is going for $50 right now. That's a pretty good return on a potential $10 to $15 investment. That's pretty good.
bro. Nah, bro.
And
Like, 'cause that's the scenario I was
mind
gonna
you,
sell.
I don't think
This
it's big
is
enough
years-
flip.
And mind you, this is years after his passing. Like, we're not talking about like right when if we were at the precipice and there was like the thought of like, oh no, like he's going slowly and like, oh no, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's cancer is metastasizing or whatever the case may be. Not wishing none of this on none of these people. I hope they all live to 100. I hope they all live very healthy lives and, as long as they want to live. But I'm just saying, just for that investment purpose, yes. But anything outside that, like if I go in your crib, if like anybody who knows me knows, I love my brothers in the bond. The Canes behind me are for Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, all that good stuff. If one of my line brothers, actually, I'll take it a step further. I was only blessed with one blood brother. I only have one brother who, me and him, same mom, same dad. And let me tell you this right now. He listens to the pod. I love you, Kevin. I know you out there listening right now. I'm going to tell you right now because I know you're going to text my phone. I know you never do this. But if I came home and I saw a 12-month calendar of my brother's a huge wrestling fan. Let me come home and see CM Punk 12 times. Let me come home and see Seth Rollins 12 times. The Rock 12 times. I own everything I love. I'm disowning you. I just lost a brother that day.
Listen.
I'm gonna hold a fake funeral and all because I don't know you no more. I'm gonna go stand at the gravesite in all black, holding a little umbrella, just standing there real somberly, because I need the full impact. Because you can't be no brother of mine doing nothing like that. No.
Hey, listen. Not gonna hold. Y'all know my brother got some crazy names for himself. I'm not gonna say on the show. Crazy names for himself. If I go home to my mom's house in Florida and see any type of calendar on his wall, it's getting set on fire. Ain't no questions, ain't no thought, ain't no nothing. Like, hey, bro, I got dates, important dates on there. Well, you should have wrote them down. You should have wrote them down.
That's your little brother. So you supposed to give him guys. That's my big brother, man. If my big brother, you older than me. If you don't know the rules by now, you ain't never gonna learn the rules. I'm done. I'm done here. I ain't got no brothers, man. Somebody asked me, hey, I got 2 whole sisters, 2 half sisters. That's pretty much it, man. I ain't got no.
So you telling me a 12-month Roman Reigns calendar enough for your brother to be out the picture?
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna look him dead in his eye, and I'm gonna say, I hope the tribal chief was worth it. I hope the tribal chief was worth it. Don't call me Oos. Don't call me none of that. We are not nothing. We are not nothing to each other no more, man. So Josh, you would be cool. You would be cool with it if you saw who's your brother's favorite athlete?
Cole.
And you would be cool if you walked in his crib.
No, that's a little wild.
Honestly,
if you're an adult, you just need straight nature shots on your calendar. I'm trying to see. For October, I need to see some leaves and some pumpkins, my boy.
I wouldn't even be mad. I wouldn't even be mad if he had like the last Lakers that three-peated. Like he had that last year's championship roster calendar, and was like, I just get it updated every year because like as a commemorative thing to Kobe, like. I just get it updated every year. It's the same 12 dudes doing the same 12 things, but it's just new dates, whatever. But 12 of just him? Hey, yo, what's going on here, bro?
That's like, wild.
You're acting unruly, man. Hey. These folks in the chat. Boy, I tell you. That 12-month calendar, what's this name? Lydell C2696. We need to throw you in a special type of jail that rhymes with Borny.
You thought I was feeling you? It's just some new months.
We need to throw you in a special type of jail.
Hey, he said an Ice Spice calendar. Hey, she posted some wild pics on Twitter, though. I ain't gonna lie. Some wild
Chris, you need to be in jail with him. You're going to be his cellmate.
Because y'all two
have a lot in common, apparently.
Hey, at least we know he going to have a calendar for
Well, folks, we got some actual sports to talk about. The NFL leading up to its championship. The NCAA had one of the most lopsided championships of all time. And teams that got booted out of the playoffs, what a sight. Peyote Packers pack is in the air. The AR-12 pack is in the air. And boy, is Detroit puffing on it all offseason long. And lastly, does the NBA have a scoring problem? We're going to talk about all that and more on today's episode of Facts Over Acts. Does that sound like a good episode to y'all?
Oh, good to me.
Great show. Great show.
Alrighty, well, let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Have a seat. It's your favorite hour of the week with the Facts Over Acts crew. We got the master of the mix and master, Josh Guyton, in the building.
That is I.
We got the money man, the man to plan, Chris Allen, in the building.
Right here, right here.
And then you got the little old MC, that's me, King Gibbs. Now, fellas, the NFL playoffs are officially set. No more playoff picture, no more who's in, who's out. I would like to say this, though, and looking at these teams that are in and out, boy, I'll tell you, the Patriots not being in and 2 AFC East teams making it, boy, somebody in hell is getting some ice water right now. Somebody is getting some ice water down there right now. But with that being said, on the AFC side, the matchups are as follows for the Super Wild Card weekend that's coming up. We got the Chargers going to visit the Jags. We got the Ravens going to take on the Bengals for the third time this year. And we have the Dolphins going to the Bills, another divisional matchup that's going to see a third-time rematch. On the NFC side, we have the Cowboys going to Tampa to take on the Bucs. The Giants headed up to Minnesota, or headed down to Minnesota, I guess, to the west, to Minnesota, to take on the Vikings. And the Seahawks in another divisional matchup going to Candlestick. What is it? Candle, what stadium? What's the
I forget the name of it.
You know what? They're headed out to the Bay to take on the 49ers. That's all we need to know. They're headed out to San Fran to take on the 49ers. Fellas, tell me which matchup is most intriguing to you? Which one do you think will be the most entertaining for your personal sensibilities?
On the AFC side, in sense of entertaining, I think Chargers Jacksonville is what we're looking forward to this weekend. I have the Chargers winning this game in a shootout, but I think if you look at the AFC, all of these teams could be in these positions for the next decade. The oldest quarterback in the playoffs on that side is Patrick Mahomes at 27. So I think that we get to see a shootout between Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, which I think are two guys who are going to have pretty, at least good careers.
You know, I think it's really interesting as to whether or not Lamar is going to play at all against the Bengals.
He ain't playing.
All the money that's on the line.
What they say on TikTok, get somebody else to do it.
Get somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it. Chris, which game is most entertaining to you for this here weekend?
All right, so for the NFC, hey, y'all call me crazy for crazier things. For the NFC, them Giants and them Vikings, I'm not gonna hold you up. If the Giants win, who's surprised? Who's surprised? Honestly,
I got the Giants winning.
Exactly. Like, come on. Let's keep it a buck here. Like, right? They rested all their players. Saquon's on a revenge tour because he was injured. Kirk Cousins, not the best, but he's decent at times. But I really believe Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones is who people think Derek Carr is. Really. Like, he don't have the numbers like Carr, but as far as overall impact and playing with a lot less, that's Daniel Jones.
I feel like he know how to win games.
Exactly. And Derek Carr, yeah, he got the arm strength. He got the talent around him now. He didn't always have it. He had the numbers, but he didn't know how to win a game. That's the most interesting. On the AFC, I got to disagree. You know, I really don't like we got to slow down, right? People saying Trevor Lawrence a top 5 QB in the league right now. We got to slow down. Like, I get it. He had a drastic turnaround. I didn't think he was going to be this good that quick. But it's got to be, it has to be the Bills and the Dolphins for a couple reasons, right? The Bills are notoriously known for having a great regular season and then playing like a completely different team in the playoffs, right? Yep. Last year was the first time we saw signs of life from the Bills in the playoffs where it was like, okay, the Bills actually could win the Super Bowl. So, right. You know, and the Dolphins actually, offensively, they have the weapons to play anybody tough. So, yeah, their quarterback position is shaky, but also, you know, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you don't need much of a quarterback throw the ball to them two guys. You know, they're going to be open.
That sounds good in theory, but the Bills got 2 of the best safeties in the game and one of the best corners in the game. And As long as Tua head keeps smacking off that carpet,
I don't think Tua gonna play. I don't.
Oh no, Tua's definitely not gonna play. I don't think he's. I think he's done for the season. But I completely understand where he comes
But
from.
that's the only game that go 50-50 to me. The AFC pretty much a set playoff run to me.
I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think that any games on the AFC side are going to be like that riveting, except Chargers and Jaguars, because you never know which team you're gonna get with either one of them. You never know. You literally, it's just like they just kind of show up and hope like, hey, hopefully we get all our guys going well today, because we can do some good things. But here's the game that I'm looking at that if this game ain't exciting, listen, I would be shocked and surprised to say the least. That Cowboys and Buccaneers game, and let me tell you why. The Cowboys are like, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what the problem is, but they up there with the Cleveland Cavaliers in terms of world's best salesmen. And anybody who want to get mad at me about that, any Cowboys fan who want to get mad at me about that, please remember this. The Cavaliers have a more recent championship than the Cowboys. So just take that into consideration for a second. Now, with that being said, the Cowboys always find a way to sell, but this year's Bucks are terrible. So it's like, how do you find a way? Will the Cowboys find a way to bungle this one? Will they do it? Will they actually do it?
I have the Bucks winning 23-20.
And then is this Brady's swan song? Is this the game where, like, because objectively speaking, there's no way that the Bucs should win this game. Like, literally none. They're banged up everywhere. There's not a single position group where you can't say that they've lost a significant piece to injury so far this year. You're looking at a Cowboys team that was quite literally in position to not only compete for, but win the 1 seed had they won and the Eagles lost. The Eagles had to play Jalen Hurts in order to get the 1 seed this last game against, I believe, who did they play the last game? The Giants, was it?
I believe so.
They played the Giants, who were resting everybody, and they still needed to play Jalen Hurts. This is a Cowboys team that everything says, remember, coming into the season, folks said, oh yeah, the Cowboys definitely going to win the division. And what did I say? I'm going to go with the Eagles because no team has won it back-to-back. No team has won it back-to-back. The Cowboys always find a way. I want to see if they're going to find a way to sell this, or I want to see if Brady finds a way to take another L on the way out, because this is just, what a time. What a time to be alive. What a time. I love it. I love to see this. This is going to be a real good game. And this saves us from all of the sports talk shows having like 4 hours dedicated to both the Cowboys and Tom Brady. Like, now you got to kind of merge them.
Wrap that up, yep.
You got to merge them into one. Wrap this malarkey up, please and thank you. So I think that's the game that, to me, that's the one I want to see. Now, moving on from there, in terms of predictions for the playoffs, who do y'all have going all the way as of right now? Who do y'all have taking it all as well?
It's a little tough just because I think this year is different because they generally sail once they make it deeper in the playoffs. Coming out of the AFC side, I got Buffalo, and coming out of the NFC side, I got Philadelphia. I had Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl at the start of the season. I'm gonna stick to that.
Okay, all right. Who you got, Chris?
I'm going Chiefs and Niners, man. I really like the Niners. Yes, they on their third string quarterback, but this is the healthiest they've been other than quarterback position in forever. And they really, really look like they got a chip on their shoulder. They the only team in the playoffs really that to me went all in this season to go all in. They traded away a lot of stuff for Christian McCaffrey and a couple other guys on that team. And I think that this is their time to really, really turn the tables and try to get a Super Bowl.
I believe that every team must knock on the door before they break it down. And the Buffalo Bills knocked on the door last year. They weren't in the AFC Championship. They lost.
They lost it.
Yeah.
So that's what informs this take from me. I believe that the Bills are not quite ready yet. I think they still got one more year of knocking left. I think they got one more year knocking. I think the AFC, I don't know how I don't know why, but we all thought Pat Mahomes loses one of the fastest receivers the NFL has ever seen. And not just a speed guy, because when you think about speed guys, you think about Willie Gault, you think about maybe even a guy like what's that kid's name from the Broncos? He was from the Broncos. Eddie Royal, maybe even I don't know if Dante Hall would be straight line speed, but maybe even a guy like that, or Darius Hayward-Bay. You think of guys like that, and you say speed don't always translate, but Tyreek Hill has found a way to put it together and turn into a great receiver. And yet, they got better after losing them. They win more games after losing them. I'm gonna tell you this: if those tackles can hold up just a little bit, this is the Chiefs Super Bowl. The only problem with that, to me, is if the NFC is bad enough to let the Eagles in without having to knock on the door first. Because I think if their matchup in the Super Bowl is the Eagles, I don't think the Chiefs stand a chance. I don't think they do. But if the Chiefs get the team that I think they're going to get, I think they're going to get the 49ers. I think that the
Indians agree, everybody.
I think that the Chiefs win it. I think the Chiefs win it. And let me tell you why. You cannot go into the Super Bowl betting on one thing and that's it. You can't go into the Super Bowl saying to yourself, hey man, we gonna run this ball and we gonna be all right. That Chiefs team, as much as people like to think of them as a finesse and soft team and all that, their strongest points of that defense are all up the heart of the defense. You got defensive tackle Chris Jones, Mike linebacker Bolton, Snead at safety. The best of everything they have is right up the middle of that defense.
Hey, Gibbs, they got rid of Sorensen too.
Oh yeah, you got to get rid of Sorensen. Got to get rid of him. Again, I don't know who you had picks of, but to me, I think that this is a very simple case. I think that the Chiefs, I think Pat Mahomes gets his second. But with that being said, if the Eagles come out the NFC, I reserve the right to go ahead and switch my pick there. Because if the Eagles get in without having to knock, they have a defensive line that is going to eat that Chiefs offensive line alive. And they have a wide receiving core and a running back group. Listen, I'm just telling you.
The Eagles match up well, but if you think about what the Eagles do well, right? The Chiefs do it better. The Chiefs do it better offensively, I'm saying, offensively.
But that's the thing, though. The Eagles have so many different ways that they can attack you. Like, the 49ers have different weapons, and that's great. It's great to have Kittle. It's great to have Debo. It's great to have C-Mac. At some point in time, you're going to need your quarterback to make a winning throw in winning time. And to me, if you're asking who do I trust more, because at the end of the day, I think that those two are going to be the two teams that meet in the NFC Championship. And last time the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, I want to say Jimmy Garoppolo completed 4 passes, but that was against the Packers defense that against the run, they just were not physical enough. They were not strong enough at that point of attack. That Eagles team, baby, that team is, if you think you're going to out-physical them at the point of attack, good luck. Tell me how that worked out for you. I'd love to see how that works out for you. So, I mean, when I go to look at the Eagles against the Chiefs, I see it like this. The Eagles not only have the running game with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, they also have the option of the quarterback running the ball in terms of Jalen Hurts. They also have a receiving core that is as dynamic as anything that we've seen in quite some time. You got Quez Watkins, one of the fastest guys in the league. You got A.J. Brown, who has just been balling. People had questions about, is he a number one? And he said, am I a number one? Let me go ahead and break this franchise record in year 1 to show you. You got Devontae Smith, who honestly I think is becoming a little underrated with how good he is. But it's just the fact that when you're sharing a receiving room with A.J. Brown, it's a little tough to be seen as what you fully are. I don't know. I think they give the Chiefs fits. I think that the Chiefs have a tough time. And I'm going to tell you this. Matt Patricia, you still would never be forgiven for your crimes by me telling Darius Slay he wasn't elite and now he playing like a top 5 corner years after that.
Right.
You're never going to be forgiven for that from me. So, I don't know. I think that if the Chiefs get anybody but the Eagles, I think they take it in the Super Bowl.
But
however,
this
if
is
they
what
get the Eagles, I got them.
This is how I feel, though. if the Eagles see the Bucks, I don't know if they really, really ease past the Bucks. I think if they get the Cowboys, no brainer. But the Bucks, you know, Brady's been playing terrible this year. Don't get me wrong, and the Bucks have been a terrible organization, and they're under 500. But hear me out. One of the best things Brady is good at is controlling the pace of the game. Brady gonna be out there for a majority of the game, and the more Brady's out there, the less Jalen Hurts is out there, and I think that's how you beat the Eagles.
Christopher Delroy DeBarge Allen. Why would you? I'm gonna say this: Brady and the teams that he's played on have done an amazing job at controlling the clock. But of course they have. He's had really good not really good running games, but he's had really good schemes to allow that to happen. When you have Corey Dillon in the backfield, yeah, you can go ahead and control it. When you have James White catching 16 passes out the backfield, yeah, you can go ahead and control it. By the way, still a Super Bowl record for receptions, and it belongs to a running back. Good for you, James White. But anyway, the fact of the matter is you can control the clock with that. Who do they have now that you look at and you say, with this offensive line and their backs, they can control the clock? I like Fournette. I like him a lot. Too many injuries on that offensive line for me to look up and say, I trust them to go 3 yards in the cloud and dust this thing on out. I don't trust it. But I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again in the future. Who knows? I just think that the Eagles are, again, I think that the 49ers are the only team that can stop them. But I don't think the 49ers can stop the Chiefs. I think that it's a rock, paper, scissors situation where it's like whoever gets there is like it's what it depends on to me. But that's just my personal take on it. So let me ask y'all this. Which team do y'all think loses by the most in the first round, in this super wild card round? Who do y'all think is the team that this is a blowout waiting to happen?
I'm looking at Seattle. You know, they played earlier in the year. I think earlier in the year when they played, it was only 20. I think it was 23-17, and the 49ers won the last time they played. But I just see San Francisco kicking it to another level when it comes to the playoffs, and I think that Seattle was a little burnt out running off of that high to where they barely made the playoffs.
Right.
I was looking at Baltimore and Cincinnati too because I don't think Lamar Jackson is playing. I think he's sitting this game out. And he's getting paid. He's getting paid a lot of money this offseason. But I don't think the Bengals offense has been fired enough this year like they were last year to run up numbers against that Baltimore defense.
Okay. All right, Chris, who do you think getting blew out by the most in this?
I absolutely think it's the Cincinnati Bengals destroyed. They're going to rip the Ravens in half and then step on them and then wipe their shoe off and then step on them again. That's how bad I think they're going to do the Ravens. It ain't even going to be close. Take the spread, and then, you know what? You can even be risky and double the spread how bad they're going to do the Ravens. I'm not going to lie to you, man. And you know, the crazy part is they tried to make this quarterback, Lamar Jackson, brother, so bad. They really tried to make him. They was like, he even
him and Lamar Jackson are the same guy. The offense, you can't tell the difference. The scoreboard can tell the difference.
Listen, they struggle to put up yards, not points, yards. They've been struggling to put up yards in a 4-quarter game. Like 200 yards is the line set for their passing game now. Like that 200 yards in this NFL, where it's a more of a pass first game, is just wow to me. Wow.
I'm surprised nobody took this game, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take the liberty of taking it since nobody else is gonna do it. The Bills are gonna destroy the Dolphins. I don't know how the Dolphins.
I think that's closer than what.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty close game.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I don't think that's gonna be a close game. The Bills are riding. You talk about emotional highs. Ever since DeMar Hamlin has has been up and talking and moving.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills have. Think about it this way. The worst part of that Bills team that everybody talks about is their running backs. Everybody talks about the running backs being the liability. The running backs. They can't do nothing. The running backs can't do nothing. Do y'all know how they beat the Patriots in that last game of the season? 2 kick return touchdowns by none other than running back Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that team is riding off an emotional high. And on top of them riding off an emotional high, the Dolphins just, without Tua, that team just gives off a lot of fraudulence. Even with Tua, let me just say this: even with Tua, it gave off a lot of fraudulence. It gave off a lot of fraudulence, and down the stretch, think about this now: they barely beat the Jets 11-6. 11-6, barely beat the Jets. Now, if we're talking, and don't get me wrong, the Jets defense is good.
I was about to say the Jets defense is real good, man. They got
The
a
Jets
top
defense
five
is
corner over
amazing.
there.
They're amazing. Do you want to know the last time they allowed 11 points or less? Against the Bears, November 27th. It's been over a month. And granted, they did the same thing to the Patriots the game before that. But again, I don't understand how, if you're a playoff team, because if we're comparing the Bears as the standard, the Bears didn't get in the playoffs. The Patriots didn't get in the playoffs. The Broncos, who they held to 9 points, didn't get in the playoffs. The Packers, who they held to 10 points, didn't get in the playoffs. Every team that is in the playoffs put up wicked numbers. Well, not wicked, but put up at least serviceable numbers against this team. Every other team that was in the playoffs put up at least serviceable. The least I'm seeing from any other playoff team is 17 points. That's the minimum. And the Dolphins, I mean, I'm sorry, they put up at least 17 against the Jets, and the Dolphins could only score 11. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm telling you, them boys are in some trouble. They in some hot water. Those Dolphin pack is finna be, remember when everybody was talking about Pink Dolphin? Go ahead and book it. Book it now. You're gonna be able to buy some Pink Dolphin if you double that spread.
I would take the alt spread and give the Dolphins plus 15.5. I would.
I would give. I believe the spread right now is what, 8 points? Is it 8.5?
Yeah.
Something like that. I give them 15.
Yeah.
I would take the alt spread and take 15.5.
Yeah, I told everybody, and let me tell you this, and we're gonna move on to our next segment here. But I'm gonna tell you this: I told everybody when we were talking about the national championship. Everybody said, "Well, how much do you think it's going to be that bad of a blowout?" And everybody thought Michigan was going to blow them out. I said, listen, Michigan is not used to being there. They're not used to being in that spot yet. They ain't got fully accustomed to all the things that go into that yet. They thought that they was going to get cute and running Philly specials at the goal line when you got one of the best offensive lines in the nation. They thought it was time to get cute. That's why they lost to TCU. They didn't lose to TCU because they're not the better team. They lost because they got cute. Georgia knows what it takes to be there and win.
Yep.
And speaking of, I mean, who let the dogs out? Put them back in their cage. This is ridiculous. This is the largest margin of victory in a national championship game, not just in the college football playoff era, not in the BCS era. This was the largest margin of victory in a national championship game ever. Fellas, what do you walk away from this bowl game or from this national championship thinking?
I'm walking away from this national championship thinking that Georgia, this is going to sound crazy to say because of the influx of talent that they have and the influx of talent that they're going to continue to have, but I think that Georgia got fairly lucky. I think the only team that had the plausible pieces to beat Georgia was Michigan. And Michigan, I don't know if they took that game too easy against TCU, but they played probably their worst game of the season. They probably played a worst game against, I believe it was Iowa that they just barely beat earlier this year. I know it was a Big Ten game. I can't exactly remember who. And TCU played out of their minds. The reason I say that is if you look at their schedule for this past season and their schedule for their upcoming season, I never seen a team this dominant have such a weak schedule consecutive years in a row. Georgia has not once played a team as talented as Michigan or even as close as talented as Michigan this entire season or the upcoming season. Do you know what Georgia's schedule is for this upcoming year?
Tell it to me. Talk to me.
UT Martin.
Okay.
Ball State.
Should be a win.
South Carolina.
Should be a win.
UAB.
Shout out to Spencer Riley, by the way, with South Carolina. UAB, okay, should be a win.
The Auburn Tigers.
They got getting a new coach, should be a win.
Kentucky Wildcats.
Getting a new quarterback. Shout out to Devin Leary. Should be a win.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, boy. They got a football team still?
Yes.
Shout out to the young lady who was their kicker, Miss Fuller. Shout out to her.
Florida.
Billy Napier looking real iffy right now down there.
Too much booger sugar in Florida.
Maybe.
Missouri.
Shout out to Coach Drink. We love you on this show. You're a friend of the pod, but yeah, that one looking steep too.
Ole Miss.
Shout out to Lane Kiffin and all them violations that we know he finna get in a couple years, but yeah, that shouldn't be a close game.
Tennessee.
Okay, Joe Milton could do something.
Right.
Joe Milton could
Right.
do something at the end of the year right there. Who knows?
And they're ending the season with Georgia Tech.
They're replacing their quarterback and their head coach. I don't see a way that game is called clean old fashioned hate, and that's gonna be a clean old fashioned whooping. They Georgia Tech finna get whooped like they stole something.
So outside of Tennessee, I don't see a single team that they're going to play next year that's going to be ranked.
Well, in the SEC championship, they're probably gonna have to play Bama. They're probably gonna have either Bama or no, because the Bama or LSU is probably gonna be the team they have to play in the conference championship.
Right. So I see Georgia being in the same position next year that they were this year. But
12-0 with momentum going against Bama.
exactly, but I think that there are teams out there that can beat Georgia. Not a lot, but I think Michigan is one of those teams. And I'm not taking anything away from them. They whooped on TCU. That was an embarrassing game for TCU, but we all knew that TCU didn't belong there.
Yeah.
So I think that Georgia has the potential to get punched in the mouth. But going back to that game, I think, Georgia just has an influx of talent, and they were playing against a team that played above expectations for most of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, what are your thoughts on after this national championship?
It was a good old, one of them spankings. One of them ones when you was young. Your mama could lay you across the lap, take a little paint stick, little paint sticks you sticks back in the day, and give you one of them whoopings. One of them ones up close and personal on your thigh that burn with the little.
Hey,
wood
Chris, do we got to call
stick.
CPS?
It sound like it. It sound like it.
No.
A paint stick. That sounds pretty violent, my brother in Christ.
No, I'm talking about the thin one that used to be like the one on the.
I know
back
what you're
of the
talking
church
about.
fan, on the back of the church fan.
Yeah, we know what they look like now, but that's a little intense, there, brother.
Yeah, but anyway, that was one of them whoopings, and I disagree, guy, wholeheartedly. Contrary to the public, I think Michigan's the team that got lucky, right? Ohio State, if you look at that team, top to bottom, Georgia. The reason, let me ask you a question: what made Georgia really good this year?
I mean, their defense was absolutely loaded again, but even more so than that, I don't even want to say their entire skill positions, because offensively, their running backs are nothing special. Their receivers are blah. They just their tight end group is probably one of the greatest ever assembled.
Okay, and to me, defensively is one thing. They was the best defense in the nation to me, hands down.
Yeah.
Always going to be one of the top 3 defenses. But offensively, they were a quick offense. Is why I think they were really good. They had a lot of guys leak out quick, get open quick. Ohio State put up 40 plus on that defense. Yeah. Ohio State put up 40 plus on that defense. Now, I know Ohio State lost to Michigan or whatever, but that's a rivalry game. Rivalry games I look at as 50-50 games every time you look at a rivalry game. And Ohio State, to their standard, they had an off game. They had an off game against Michigan because they had a Heisman. The guy looked like they was going to run away with the Heisman Trophy. He had an off game. Let's be honest. He's probably going to be a top 3 draft pick. And their receivers was dropping passes they normally make in that game against Michigan. Yep. I think Ohio State is the team that had the best upside against Georgia this year. So I actually think Michigan was the team that got lucky, because I think if Michigan played Bama without their best running back, I think they wouldn't even scored against not Bama, Georgia. I don't think they would have scored against Georgia.
I'm going to say this. I walk away from this championship game thinking one very simple thing. Coaches have got to stop putting their players in front of cameras without preparing them for certain things. Because a defensive end who was hurt, I believe his name is Nolan Smith of Georgia, was asked, how does it feel to overcome controversy and doubters and all that? And he said, y'all thought we was gonna go 7-5, but here we are, national champs. Perfect. I'm done now, so I can say this. My brother in Christ, y'all started off the season as the number 3 ranked team in the nation. Y'all started off the season, according to Vegas, with the 3rd best odds to win the national championship. There were 2 teams, 2 in all of America. There are 130 teams in the FBS. And there were only 2 teams that they said had a better chance of winning it all than you. And for whatever reason in your mind that equated to people saying y'all were 7-5. This is why I get mad at coaches, because they be setting their players up for failure. That young man was supposed to be a top 20, top 25 draft pick next year. They're going to have extra drug tests for him based upon that assessment. Just that statement alone. A player coming from Georgia saying, hey, man, y'all thought we was going to go 7-5. They absolutely are looking, saying, yeah, get him. Test him when he gets to the combine. Test him again before he leaves the combine. As a matter of fact, test him when he's going into training camp too. Throw a little razzle-dazzle into there. Throw a test in the middle of training camp because he ain't right.
Wait,
something ain't
first
right.
off, Gibbs, did they hear the schedule that Guyton just read off?
I mean,
that was similar to their schedule this year.
I was just about to say, if you read their schedule
almost the
from
same
this
schedule.
year. And here's the thing. This is not a knock on Georgia. I am not saying, I don't believe in Georgia or they got lucky or da-da-da-da. They played some good teams this year. They whooped the wheels off of Oregon like we had never seen. That was one of their biggest wins of the year. They whooped the wheels off of Tennessee. Well, they beat Tennessee. They ain't whooped the wheels off them. But Hendon Hooker got hurt. They beat Tennessee. They beat LSU. I almost whooped the wheels off. 20-point victory. You're in whoop the wheels off territory. But they did their thing. This is not a knock on them at all. Dominating the national championship the way they did. The largest point spread ever for a national championship as far as prediction goes. Nobody else was a 2-touchdown favorite. And for them to win by a larger margin we've ever seen, this is not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying coaches love to feed their players all this motivation and nobody believes in us, nobody respects us. That's why everybody hates Dabo Swinney. Because when Clemson was on top, he was saying, nobody believes in us. Nobody thinks we're good. You got Deshaun Watson, bro. Everybody believes in you. Everybody believes in you. I'm sorry to tell you that. You got Trevor Lawrence, a guy who would have been the number 1 pick if he could have came out his sophomore year. People believe in you, and that's okay. That's okay. But stop setting these players up for failure. Stop setting these players up for failure. And I'm gonna tell you this: with the schedule you just put, and what we're looking at for next year, is a 3-peat possible for Georgia, and do you see it happening?
A 3-peat is possible for Georgia. They're going to be the 1 seed at the end of next season, and they're running it off. They're 3-peating.
3-peat, okay. Back to back to back, like Kobe and Shaq, like Jordan and Pippen. That's how we rolling. Chris, what you got? 3-peat? No 3-peat.
When the last time a 3-peat happened in college football?
It's probably OU, maybe back when they had Barry Switzer and whatnot. I don't know. Let's look it up. Last 3-peat in college football. Let's look it up. But go ahead, Chris.
I just don't see football, especially the college football playoffs, without them changing the draft or expanding it. It's tough, man. Because Bama gonna retool and get better. Michigan, they seem to find themselves relevant now, even though it took them a while longer than it should have. Ohio State gonna be there. It's just so many. TCU, they got a trash schedule again. They probably gonna be there.
There was one 3-peat ever in college football
That's
history.
what I'm saying.
Since they've acknowledged, or rather since 1900, there's been one 3-peat ever. And I know that y'all would not know the school who did it. Take a guess. I give y'all both 5 guesses. Take a guess.
I'm trying to think of the 30s.
It was in the 30s, yes. It was from 34 through 36.
Michigan?
No, but close.
Thinking Michigan, Iowa, or Minnesota.
Damn it, you got it right. Minnesota.
Ooh.
34 through 36, 3-peated. This is why I hate Josh, bro. Why do you have all this knowledge in your
I don't
brain?
know, bro. I need to go with Jeopardy and get some bread or something,
You need to
bro.
go. Remember when they had the Sports Jeopardy show?
Yeah.
Boy, if they would bring that back, Oh, I would be running it up. I got whatever on my dog. This the what was our boy name who won like $1 million? It was Ken something.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
Ken Burns.
This
how you
the
know
Ken
that?
Burns of this thing, man. This the Ken. But yeah, Minnesota won 3. But that's pretty much it.
Right. And when you see stuff like that, I find it hard to believe, especially because Georgia going to lose a lot of players to the draft. They're going to have a lot more freshmen on the team. I know that defense going to take a hit from the draft because a lot of them guys are older, I think, on that defense. So I don't see it really happening, especially the way college players are revolving doors in the college football world nowadays. Deion Sanders going to Colorado might change a lot of recruits to go that way too. So who knows?
I think that there is one very big reason that Georgia could very possibly three-peat. Yes, you've got the situation where they're going to be losing a lot of players and all that. They're not going to lose a player who's been hailed as one of the best tight end prospects of all time, Mr. Brock Bowers. That man has been dominating since his true freshman year, and he is only getting bigger, stronger, and faster. And they only keep coming up with more ways to get him the ball. Have y'all ever seen, and I'm not talking about a jet sweep, I mean a genuine reverse ran to a tight end, where the tight end is circling back 10 yards in the backfield before receiving the ball?
Never.
I had never seen that before Brock Bowers, and I don't think we'll see it again for quite some time.
I think the Chiefs did it with Kelsey one time. Andy Reid do crazy stuff, though.
And even if we give him that credit, we're talking about something that we have all been watching sports for years. I was a football junkie growing up, still am to a certain degree. And I'm telling you, when I saw him, like, not only that they run that play, but that play is like a regular thing in their offense, that's crazy. That is insane. And yet it works every time. It pops for about 15 to 20 yards. And that man amongst boys is coming back for another year because he literally can't leave. He's too young. They won't let him. Yeah. NCAA, y'all got some problems on your hands.
They're the same age as Chris at quarterback in college.
Let me tell you that their quarterback is old as dirt. He, he need to update his LinkedIn profile because after next year, I'm waiting for Stetson Bennett Kia of Athens, Georgia. I'm waiting for that to open up. You know what I mean? Somebody gonna probably cop a soul from there and just say "Go Dogs," even though they already got a car, just because they like them. But the reality is that team, I think that they're probably gonna be back based upon that schedule y'all just told me. The only team that had a shot is Tennessee, and with that being said, you might question, is their jaw going to be a little soft in the playoffs? But then you look at next year and talk about, well, who's going to be good next year? What team in the NCAA is going to be really, really good that's going to scare the lights out of you next year? I think Michigan has the potential to be there because they're bringing back McCarthy and Corb and bringing back a good offensive line and all that good stuff. I think that maybe Clemson has the potential to be there with Klubnik getting a year older, but they're losing a ton on that defensive line, and I don't know if they got what it takes to get there. USC could be really good next year, but that's literally 3 teams. And mind you, those 3 teams are all one injury away from not being very good. If something happens to Caleb Williams, congratulations USC. Y'all are no longer in the running. If something happens to Blake Corum again, baby, y'all are not going to beat Georgia. Sorry to tell you. It's not in the cards for you, buddy. Not going to happen. Clemson, again, we're counting on Cade Klubnik being really good next year if that's going to be a story. The Big 12, I don't think they have anybody. I just don't. I don't think they have anybody that's like worth all that trouble and commotion. So, I could easily see a three-peat happening here. I could definitely see it happening. I'm not saying it would be good or bad for the sport, but I could definitely see it happening. Now, we got to talk about one more thing before we get to the NBA scoring problem. The Packers talked the big talk. They knew they were getting into the playoffs. They said, all we got to do is beat the Lions, and it don't matter what Seattle does. We're in. Win and we're in. That's it. Against the Lions in Lambeau. And let me tell you this. As a Lions
crazy,
fan,
too.
As a Lions fan, we've seen this story. It's the tale as old as time. The same old Lions go into Green Bay. Green Bay needs a win to seal it. Green Bay needs a win to get the number 1 seed. They need a win to get the playoffs. They need some type of win for some reason. The Lions come in there. They get the W. But Motor City Dan Campbell. But my man, my head coach, Motor City Dan Campbell, he told them folks, hey, listen, with all due respect, we're going to go ahead and take this win up off you. And I hope that if this was Aaron Rodgers' last game ever here, I hope that y'all, loved on him good while you were here, okay? Because, this is one of those moments where you look up and you see that the Packers have lost the game and the Lions come away with a winning record on the season after starting 1-6, and they boot the Packers out the playoffs. Fellas, what were your thoughts coming away from that game?
My thoughts coming away from that game was glory be to God. Happy days.
From who all blessings flow, the source of all love.
No, man, it's just as a Lions fan, as a football fan, as somebody that's not from Green Bay, there's not a lot of things that I hate in my life more than the Green Bay Packers. Not a lot of things I hate in my life more than Aaron Rodgers. And I'm glad that we were the team to put them out of the playoffs, especially after multiple times in my life where it was clearly an agenda that Green Bay needed to beat Detroit, regardless of how talented we might have been that year. It was happy to put them out, and I wanted us to kill them the day that I forget who the sideline reporter was, but they say, look, Aaron Rodgers, you got 2 teams in your division that's above 500. And Aaron Rodgers was like, well, only let's not jump the gun. Only one of them is 500. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of trash talk. I forget what player on the Lions got injured, but a trainer coming onto the field.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, and bumping Green Bay players, pushing the trainer.
Yeah.
It's just I can't wait until next year. I can't wait until next year because I know Green Bay is going to be in last place. I know they're going to be in last place. I can feel it in my soul. Every person in Wisconsin is going to be sick. Every NFL referee is going to be sick, and they're I just can't wait. And I'm glad that one, we were able to put them out of the playoffs. I'm sick we didn't make the playoffs, but Geno Smith got in there, and I want to see Geno Smith succeed. So you know what? I'm very happy to see that, and I just want to say once again that I hate the Green Bay Packers.
Chris, I'm gonna cut in front of you here because as a Lions fan that been through the ups, been through the down, got my Barry Sanders jersey in the closet, got my Lions beanie as well. I just want to say that the Lord didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it, but I'm so glad that He did. Let me tell you something. I have never liked the Packers. I've always hated them. And, you've always had to kind of respect them because, regardless of how much you didn't like them, they were just good. They were good. With Brett Favre, Amon Green, the guy who's in the coat now, Bia Bajamila, they were just good. They were just B.J. Raji and company, Clay Matthews and company. They were really, really good. There was nothing you could do. Darren Sharper in the game. You could hate him on Charles Woodson. You could dislike him all you wanted.
Let's see.
But they at least earned the right.
Real quick, before you can continue, just in football lore, when you say Darren Sharper, what else do you have to say?
Hey, please. Please. Okay.
That's the hard-hitted safety in the league.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other thing. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
You can say that. Yes, absolutely. But long story short.
Yes, bro.
You've always hated. What? Well, it's the same thing with Kellen Winslow. You kind of can't talk about him without talking. Long story short, it's such a great time. Such a great time. To see such arrogant Packers fans go ahead and take an L. What a time. What a time. What an exciting time. I'm happy. This is beautiful. I enjoy it. It makes my heart smile. It does. It does. But I think the biggest thing as far as this goes for me is it really is kind of a changing of the guard. Because remember when Brett Favre retired and we were like, or not retired, when he left the Packers and we were like, yay, it's a changing of the guard. It's over. And then Aaron Rodgers came and it was like that scene in Megamind where Titan was like, oh, no. I'm not here to save you. This is more like under new management. That's what it felt like. And now we actually are like, this is over. This is over for the Packers. Like, this is their whole thing done. Not going to be a thing anymore. So it's going to be beautiful to see them sell off and trade off assets over the next couple of years. I hope Jair Alexander goes somewhere good. Shout out to my good brother in the bond, Jair Alexander. I hope he goes to a team that loves on him and he plays great quarterback over there. But anyway, what a time. What a time to be alive. Chris, go ahead. Give us your thoughts on this game.
No, I'm happy for the Lions, man. I'm happy for the Lions. They got a lot of players with some heart. But I will say this. We saw the power of hard knocks. There's a lot of Lions fans that came out of left field this year. Mm-hmm. We saw the power of hard knocks. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say y'all not worthy of being a bandwagon team, but it's a lot of teams that disrespected the Lions a lot of years.
Yeah.
They dropped one season in hard knocks. So let's see what the Cardinals one coming out this year. So let's see how they do the Cardinals. How the Cardinals hard knocks out.
Listen,
let's see.
I'm gonna say this. I will be an official flag bearer of the Lions fandom. We welcome all bandwagon fans. We welcome you. Come on in. Have a seat. The weather's fine over here. We play in the dome, baby. Come on, have a seat. I remember there was a year in my childhood where the team I played for won more games at Ford Field than the Lions did. Okay? So if anybody got the right to tell you, hey, you can come on the Lions fan, I think that I'm somewhere in that category. Come on, the Lions fan. Come on. I don't care what little jokey jokes you was making or whatever the case may be. We up now. Come on. Come join the bandwagon. Come on. We got 2 first-round picks next year. We had a winning record this year. Got 2 first-round picks next year. Come on. Come join the bandwagon. And if you really think about it, only 2 players in NFL history have picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times in the season. Our 4th-round pick, Kirby Joseph, and Brian Urlacher. Mm-hmm. Come on. The weather's fine over here. Come on over. Oh, by the way, as much as we talk about how good Sauce Gardner and Stingley have been this year, you know who has more interceptions than both of those guys? Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, come on over. The weather's fine. That big play guy, Jameson Williams, guess what? He's been great since he's been back, ain't he? The weather's fine over
man.
There.
Y'all hear what happened though with Jameson Wilson?
What happened?
So basically, remember that touchdown that got called back?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just about 72% of the bettors that betted on that game picked him to get the first touchdown, and they called it back. It was a riot on FanDuel sports betting page. Because Lions fans, them the one kind of fans. Like, you don't like. Okay, you got your Celtics fans, then you got your Lions fans. Them the 2 fan bases you don't, and Pistons fans too. Because when Jalen Green said that about Detroit, Detroit fans.
What's up with Jalen Green forever?
Listen. You don't say stuff to Detroit fan base groups. When I tell you FanDuel had to start blocking Detroit Lions fans on Twitter, it got out of hand.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If I ever see Jalen Green in person, all I'm gonna say is K better and just like keep it pushing. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Hey bro, K better than you. See you later. That's it. You know what I mean? That's all. All right. I ain't finna actually take a picture or nothing like that because, like, who are you? Kate is better. But anyway, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Now, speaking of the NBA, we're going to end it right here. Donovan Mitchell dropped 71. We have more 50-point games this season so far than I believe we've seen in quite some time before the All-Star break. And Peja Stojakovic once averaged 24 points in the season. And if he was averaging that right now, he would not be inside the, top 30? He would be outside the top 30? Is that correct?
No, he would be like 24, 25.
Yeah.
24, 25, averaging 24 to 25 points per game. Fellas, does the NBA have a scoring problem? Have they veered too far to like the free movement and, up and down the court, quick lifestyle type ball?
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Not one bit. The issue is a lot of old heads see this. They see what's in front of them. They see the amount of scoring, and their first instinct is not to think like, man, these guys are really talented. Their first instinct is to think like, oh, this wouldn't happen back in my day. Well, first of all, the players simply weren't as talented as they were, now. That's the evolution of things. Things evolve, things get better over time. If you take the 20th best player in the NBA right now, he's an MVP candidate if you drop him in 1991. That's just the facts of it. I'm not disrespecting any prior.
D Book would be a MVP candidate.
D Book averaging 35 in 1992.
Ooh, interesting.
And y'all know how much I dislike D Book.
Spicy.
That's just the evolution of things. You
I
got
don't
to
think
see.
you dislike D Book that much. It's a lot of players in the league I could name that Guyton. It's people in the league that Guyton just.
I don't
hates.
know. I don't know
No,
a bunch of guys.
I think the
don't know a
only
bunch of
person
guys
that might be
Guyton hates.
above D Book at this point is Chris Paul. Like at this point, I hate everybody on the Suns roster except Mikal Bridges.
Okay. Pascal Siakam, another one you just like you don't like either.
It's not that I
don't think he
dislike
hate
Pascal
Pascal.
Siakam. It's just like put a different move. Like he equipped gold. He had three finishing badges and he put them all on acrobat. And he double square every time he drives to the rack.
What's the spin one with the post spin? Post spin technique.
It's not even a post spin. He run into the rack and pressing double X, and he hitting that
Every
spin
time.
move into the layup.
Every time, boy. Every time. Good for him. Good for him in that spin, boy.
But it's just things evolve over time, and also it's a parity
I keep
issue.
thinking about that meme.
The gorilla-
When the gorilla was spinning the circle. They said Pascal Siakam every time he get the ball.
But I think currently in the NBA we have a parity issue, not a scoring issue, because we can all agree that basketball is the most popular that it's ever been right now. Yeah. And when something is popular, more people gravitate to it, more people are attracted to it, so more people are going to want to play, which is why there's a reason that it's hard to find unless you're a star, you're not going to make it in the current NBA over the age of 30. By the time you hit about 30, 31, you're off the team. It's no vets. The oldest player on the Pistons, Bogdanovich, who's 27, 28. It's a lot of. It's a lot.
He older. He older than that.
But it's.
I was just about to say,
it's a lot of
been whooping his behind. He was old as dirt.
But I'm saying it's a lot of.
He about 34.
It's a lot of. It's a lot of teams out there who have 1 to 2 30-year-olds maybe. And if you look at it, a decade ago, it's teams whose entire core were in their early 30s, making deep playoff runs, and had veterans on the team. So I think it's just a parity issue, because if you look at basketball in the 80s, there was an absurd amount of scoring of basketball in the 80s.
Right.
Because you only had, 24 teams at the time, I want to say? I want to say it was 24 teams at the time. You brought over the ABA players, and you had players like Alex English that averaged 30 for a decade. You had players like Mark Aguirre, which if you think...
Another good brother at the bottom, by the way.
If you think of star players, you don't think of like a Mark Aguirre or something like that. But if you look at it, he was averaging 28 a game. Yeah. There's a lot of players out there that was averaging ridiculous scores, and within the next decade, from 89 to the early 2000s, the NBA added 5 teams because the league got more popular. There was too much talent, so therefore the scores thinned out. It wasn't necessarily defense based, but if you got a team, a superstar team like the Lakers, and they're playing against the Bobcats, who just had an expansion draft, and their best player is Ramon Sessions, yeah, it's going to look like the defense is better because the Bobcats just scored 75 points. But if you look at the worst team, you can't tell me any team in the NBA right now where you don't see a player that can drop 40 on any given night. No team. Name me any team in the NBA.
Shout out to Ramon Sessions. Such a random
only
name.
team that I say it's like no way. Well, nah, even them though.
You
can name me no team in the NBA right now where they don't have one player that's giving you 40.
The Pistons right now?
Sadiq Bey has had a game over 40 points.
Oh,
already.
he has. That's fair.
A healthy Cade Cunningham is giving you 40.
A healthy Cade is giving.
I was gonna say San Antonio.
Oh yeah, San Antonio. Well, do it.
No, my man scored 40 early this year.
Vasily or Vasily?
Yeah,
He ain't scored 40. He had 35, but he ain't had 40.
But that's a lot of points.
I'm just saying the Spurs the only.
Yeah,
Okay,
Keldon
what about,
Johnson. Keldon Johnson is giving you 40.
Oh, Keldon Johnson's had 40-point games before.
Keldon Johnson is giving you 40.
In all fairness, Keldon Johnson did make the Olympic team too. He did.
He's a
make the
bucket.
Olympic
He's
team.
a
He
bucket,
made the
but
Olympic team.
I don't think he
Yeah.
dropped 40 this year. I don't think he dropped 40. We had to see.
Man.
The Spurs the only team where it's like I don't see nobody getting you 40 on that team.
What about the Magic? Could you see Paolo giving you 40 at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah.
I don't know.
Paulo
I don't
for
know
sure
if Paolo-
giving you 40.
I don't know if Paolo give you 40
He
in a
done
NBA
had
game.
he done had a string of 30-point games already, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I think you get 30. I don't know if 40 is like
Nah,
there for
Paulo
him
could
right
give
now.
you 40, bro. And then they got Terrence Ross on the Magic who done had 50.
Oh my God, get Terrence.
I'm just saying, he done did it. He done did it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I think it's just a influx of talent. This is the most talented that we've ever seen in the league. We're literally watching an MVP race that's between 8 people. We've never seen this before. By this point in the season, it's 3 players max who are going to be like, yo, that's the MVP. By this time last year, it was Embiid, Jokic, Giannis. Nobody else was in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true.
If you look at even a decade ago was 2013. Literally by this time in the year, we was like, oh, LeBron's
Wait, it was Bronze. Yeah, it was Bronze.
Yeah, LeBron was MVP. By the time we got to January, we were like, oh yeah, LeBron's MVP.
This is his MVP. Everybody else go home.
It's 7
Go
to 8 players in the league right now who, if the season ended today, any of them can win MVP.
That's fair.
It's just an influx of talent. The NBA needs to expand. It's as simple as
Although
that.
one of them is very tall and very injury prone and is now taking MRIs for his knee. I'm just saying. Somebody might have warned folks that 7 foot tall and bone thin was going to break down in the 30s, but that's neither here nor there. Chris, is this a scoring problem with the NBA? What's going on?
You know, this subject is actually hot right now, so I'm going to rewatch this pod and put a lot of clips on social media because this is a hot topic right now. So, you know, it's easy to say stuff like that when you see, say, Gilgeous-Alexander sit out and the Thunder still scored 147 points in the NBA game, right? It's easy to say, yes, it's a scoring problem. But honestly, I think the game has gained so much popularity and the work ethic has rose to the point where, you know, if we look back, Jordan work ethic, Kobe's work ethic, to be honest with you, for the superstars in the league, that's pretty much the average work ethic now in the NBA. That's pretty much the average work ethic. Now, Kobe might be a little excessive, but Jordan for sure.
Well, yeah, but Jordan was different. He was like
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Twitter
the
wasn't
average,
around. You imagine Brian getting caught out in the club drinking and smoking the night before, like a playoff game. Like it's a different ball game. It's a very different.
Right. But what I'm saying is the attention to detail, the technology has evolved where the amount of film that these players watch, the amount of studying of the game these players do, and the amount of training that they put in now. They're supposed to be doing this, you know. They're like this wasn't done in the past. That's why the game is different. Like the reason why it's so much offense is because you can't guard nobody. You could say, Giannis, stop Jason Tatum from getting 25 points.
Yeah.
That's a tough task to do. He literally cannot stop. If either Tatum can shoot the 3, he get to the basket, or shoot the mid range, put him in the post, and he still has enough tricks in his bag where you cannot stop him from getting 25 in a 4-quarter game. You know, and that's where I think the game has gotten to, where it's not that the game is have an offense problem. It's just that the game has evolved to the point where you understand that you can't guard somebody. So now let's keep up the pace with somebody. Let's keep up with what that other team's offense is going to do. If we can match them bucket for bucket, eventually they'll wear out or we'll wear out. And eventually a winner will be decided. That's my take on it, you know?
I'm gonna take this to another sport to help explain what's happening. The Jets right now are the Jets with Rex Ryan, just without a Gucci belt. They're literally virtually identical. Virtually identical. But do y'all remember where Rex Ryan took those Jets? To a couple AFC championship games.
Yeah.
This Jets team didn't make the playoffs. Why? They couldn't score. They couldn't keep up. What does that mean, Ken? What does that have to do with this conversation? Y'all are both right, but you're both missing a bigger picture here. Every sport, we talked about this with baseball and banning shifts. Every single sport is more so than ever fully gearing towards how do we make the most money? How do we get the most eyes on our game? And while purists like a certain thing, while purists may like, oh man, That was a really good defensive rotation. Oh my God, that was a really great weave drill they just ran on that fast break. Oh, a fast break with only 2 passes and a good finish at the rim. I love it. While the purists like that, the people who are the casuals like the LaMelo Ball, point at the logo and shoot from there. That's what the casuals like.
Yeah.
The game is not meant for us. It's not being designed for us. Because guess what? They know, think about it this way. If they decided to fully cater to the purists, you still get the purists watching, but you don't get the casuals. If you capitulate completely to the casuals and give them everything that they want, the purists are still going to watch. So you didn't lose them by making it for the casuals. That's what's happening. The game is being spread out. All of these new rules are being put in place. And yes, partly it is for player safety. Sure, some of it is. But some of it, that transition take foul rule, what part of player safety is that about? Don't worry, I'll wait. What player got hurt because the team was like, oh, they finna go in transition, let me foul them real quick? Nobody. But you know what did happen? A dunk was just eliminated. Somebody was going to tomahawk. Somebody was going to windmill. Somebody might have 360'd. Somebody might have been wide open in the corner for a 3. Something would have happened that was exciting that is now taken away. A team has to set up their offense and run a set because of that foul. So what did the NBA do? Oh, no. They're still going to have possession and they're going to get a shot. How about that? Yeah. Again, the game is very simply being designed in a manner that is going to produce high scores. So what? What about it? I mean, so if you're looking at it from a standpoint of that is problematic, then sure, the NBA has a problem. If you look at saying more offense is a problem, then yes, the NBA has an offense problem, sure. But again, this is not an accident. This is not a mistake. This is not just this is a random act of God, and this has nothing to do with anything that is a deliberate, intentional thing by the league, then you're out of your mind. The league wants this. It's what sells jerseys. We just talked about the league being more popular than it's ever been, and this is the highest score that we've seen since the 80s. Yeah. There's a reason. And what generation is often credited with saving the NBA? The 80s. Like, that's just how it works. People want to see Showtime. They want to see the fast break. They want to see the lights. They want to see the dunks. They want to see the 30-point threes. The NBA is giving it to them. So that's my take on this thing. And we know y'all tired of us talking about the 80s and Alex English and the other stuff that they had going on in the 80s. That was probably why they called the Bulls the traveling redacted circus. But come on back next week and the week after that and the week after that. Peace and love, y'all.